Yo, random video review. I'm Tom Fiddzy and I'm talking about The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 7, Chapter 15. Sorry that this is a little bit late. I've had a busy weekend. I've been a little bit down with some ex-girlfriend problems, but something that is going to put a smile on my face every single week is The Mandalorian, and this week was no exception. With one little slight difference, and that one little slight difference is the fact that this week there was no Grogu to put a smile on my face. No Grogu at all. The first episode without any Grogu action. I mean, I think, yeah, he turned up right at the end of like the first episode of the first season, but yeah, I was surprised at the end when we went over to Gideon's ship. I was like, oh, here we go. We're going to have a little bit of no, we got that really cool message of the Mandalorian being like, you have no idea what he means to me, which was epic, which was cool. The Mandalorian is coming to get you, Gideon. You better get your Dark Troopers all set up and ready. Run those final diagnostics before they get absolutely destroyed. Now, let's talk about this episode though, because this episode was a little bit more different than I was expecting it to be. I thought that based on the last episode, they were going to get Mayfeld, and I was like, okay, so what, we're going to get like a heist episode? You know, we're going to have like a little heist episode before we go into like the main mission. But no, at the beginning of the episode, Kara just turns up and gets Mayfeld, uses her brand new clearance for being a ranger of the New Republic, which is really cool. And we got him straight away, and I was like, oh, okay, so what's this going to be? Instead, they have to infiltrate an Imperial base to go get some security codes. And the episode that we got, I really enjoyed, because we got some really cool stuff with both the Mandalorian and with Mayfeld, a character that I did like when he was first introduced, but it was more kind of like funny, goofy. This one really added some layers into him. We got into the fact that he was an ex-Imperial. We got into that more. He was a sharpshooter, and he was part of Operation Cinder, something that has come straight out of the comics and the novels. Talking about it here on screen, and I loved that scene where they were with that Imperial officer, and we were getting the two very different views from Imperials that went through Operation Cinder. We had the loyalist, who was all about, we're going to regrow the... What people don't realise is they want order. And then we have Mayfeld, who's just like, yeah, but like, you killed a lot of people, you know. It's not very good for all those people that died. The people that lost stuff like me really made me like that character. Really intriguing stuff, kind of getting into where the universe is at right now, how the galaxy is, and just getting those different of opinions. And what was weird as well in this episode was that for a while, because the Mandalorian and Mayfield, they were kind of undercover and they were pretending to be stormtroopers, you were kind of rooting for the stormtroopers a little bit. When the stormtroopers came to save them from that unidentified alien species, I don't know what their name is, I don't think they have a name yet. They kind of like just another alien with like kind of tentacles on their faces, on the side of their heads, kind of like a touchy, are they called the touchy? Sacy Tin's species, but instead of horns, they're just like flappy bits of skin. Star Wars aliens love flappy bits of skin hanging off of their faces. But yeah, the stormtroopers came out and they rescued them from them aliens, and cheering for the Imperials. It was like, yay, the Imperials are here! Thank God the Imperials are here! They saved the day. It was cool seeing like stormtroopers cheering and being happy and stuff. They, you know, they were like nodding in respect. You know, they were saluting everything, but they were still like nodding. So it was great seeing that different side of stormtroopers, like a little bit more, as we've been seeing, a little bit more relaxed kind of Empire as well, where they're just chilling out. Great to see them as well. That one's just like, let me get you a drink. Even though that guy was an absolute arsehole, it was still cool to see that slightly different side. Unfortunately, all those people that we were cheering for ended up all getting shot, and quite brutally. Their entire base got blown up by Mayfeld. But for that brief moment, it was really cool. A little bit weird with those TIE fighters. I mean, well, it was like, yeah, they're here to save us. They're being good. Those TIE fighters, their accuracy, they need to work on their accuracy. Firing shots right in front of the Juggernaut. They could have easily done more damage than good, but it all worked out in the end. Didn't really see much of Boba Fett, but we did see the inside of Slave One, and that was really cool. Conveniently, it happened to have enough seats for all of the people there, so that was pretty good. And every time the ship took off, you had like the engines on the back. And I was every single time I'm like, it looks like a smiley face. But the episode was good. It was great for, as I said, for Mayfeld's character. Really was not expecting that. Really, like, his scene where he was talking to that Imperial officer was fantastic. Great acting. I was gripped. I was focused on it. And it was great as well seeing the perspective differences between Mayfeld and the Mandalorian, and getting more into the Mandalorian and his helmet, and and taking off his helmet. He took off his helmet again in this episode, and that was a little bit like, really? But you can see he's doing it for Grogu. He's taking off his helmet for Grogu. And Mayfeld brought up some good points as well. Like, what is your rule? Is it you can't take your helmet off, or you can't show your face? And he's even talking about, people will blur the line when they have to, when it's for their own benefit and stuff. And we got to see that here. So some very interesting stuff for the Mandalorian going forward. I hope this means that he isn't going to start taking his helmet off all of the time, but some really good character stuff. I love the fact that he's kind of still like quite a silent guy. He's like a Master Chief, he's very silent, but there's still loads of depth to him, and that's what I was enjoying, and it was great here. I'm assuming that Mayfeld is probably going to come back in the future because he got let go, and they had such good bonding between them two characters. I really want to see him turn up a lot more in the future. I liked him in the first episode but I liked him as kind of like that's a kind of a cool, quirky character. Here, I really, really liked him as an individual, and his backstory, talking about Operation Cinder, as I mentioned. Some fantastic stuff. Overall, the episode itself, a lot of it was just kind of driving in Juggernaut, but we had that great fight on top of the roof. And then at the end, it was kind of more interesting character stuff. It was great seeing the two snipers up there doing their work. Shame we didn't really see too much of Boba Fett, but it's good that he had a little bit of time to clean up his armor. Overall, I would say that this episode, while it was fantastic, it was very much a kind of a middle episode. So in fairness to all of the other ones, I'd probably give this one like a blue tier, but it was still great. Great for the characters, really. Definitely fantastic for the characters. And now he sent his message to Gideon, and I can't wait for these final episodes.